Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. We're here at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York City. This year, the Tribeca Film Festival has several Jewish films focusing on love, horror, and brotherly love. We had the opportunity to sit down with the director and cast of Love During Wartime. This is a story about a Palestinian that falls in love with an Israeli and their fight to stay together. So when you start this project, every filmmaker has their vision. What was your vision, and how did it start, and how did it end?
It's a very good question. I'm surprised nobody asked it before, because in the beginning, when you get an idea, or at least it's like that for me, when I get an idea, it's like you sit at your table and you come up with this idea. So it's really a construction. I didn't know any couples like this. I had been to Israel on vacation visiting my relatives, but that was about it. I had never been to Palestine. And in the beginning, my aim was to make a peace movie. And I thought that, like love conquers all. But as I went along, I realized it wasn't that easy. And also, it sounds ridiculous, but I didn't know any Palestinians. And for me in the beginning, it was difficult, because I could feel that I had to hold back, because if I posed the questions I really wanted to ask, not only for the camera, but also because I needed to understand, it would make me look, that I didn't have enough knowledge, that I had prejudice. And coming from my background, of course, I was, in a way, much more open-minded than maybe others from my background. But, you don't know so much, and it's difficult for, any filmmaker to dig into a new area if you go to Cambodia, if you go to Congo, wherever you go. And I think you have to be modest about that at the same time, and acknowledge that there are things you don't understand to begin with. But also the fact that when I started, talking both to Osama and Jasmin, but especially Jasmin, I didn't know many Israelis who had these kind of views that Jasmin expresses in the film. And I was so provoked in the beginning, because I didn't feel like that way about Israel, and I felt can I do a movie? I like being in Israel, and eventually I really understood more and more about what I didn't like, the policies and the government and how it's evolved during the making of the film. I really don't like that, but I like Israel and Jasmin's and Osama's, but in this case, especially Jasmin's opinions about Israel, I could really understand them. But it took me a long time, and it took me a long time to digest these things, because it was provocative to begin with. But once I could understand it really in depth, I felt people can think whatever they think. For me, I know what I feel.
And talk a little bit about how you all got connected.
It began with I filmed two other couples before, and they didn't want to continue filming because one of the couples, they had been threatened, and the other couple, they were just afraid. And then I read an article about Osama and Jasmin in Haaretz, and a woman from one of the couples, she had been in contact with Jasmin's father, so she gave me the number. I was in Jerusalem at that time filming one of the middle couples, and it was completely impossible, and I was desperate. I was there with Albin Biblom, who is a cameraman, and we couldn't go on. And then out of desperation, I called Jasmin's dad, and he was really nice and said, yeah, you can come visit us tomorrow, but you have to call Jasmin first. And I called Jasmin in Berlin, and she said yes at once. And 2 days later, we were in Ramallah meeting Osama, and a week later in Berlin starting filming Jasmin.
And what are you looking for the audience to take away from this movie?
I look at it on different levels, because first, my aim was really to make a love story, not a movie about soldiers or political fights or the wall, because there are a lot of films that have been made of that that has a very clear agenda, and but I've seen also a lot of Israeli documentaries that are, I think, the most great documentaries I've seen, and of course especially about this area, and also some Palestinian documentaries, but I felt that I mean, the fact that it is a love story, I think that a lot of people could identify just because it's a love story. And of course I was aware that most people who will come and see the film and will watch it on television will be people who really agree with this kind of constellation. But my aim, eventually, I really want to communicate with that film. I really want to meet people who think that this is a bad idea, that reconciliation is something bad. I really want to communicate with them as well, because I think the fact that I love Jasmin and Osama so much, and the fact that I really worked with emotions, maybe people will see them as, and their love, they will understand something else. That's really my deepest hope.
What was your biggest challenge when filming?
It was what I just described. It was myself, my own feelings.
It's sometimes hard as a filmmaker to throw yourself. And when you're behind the camera, you have your vision. And I was going back to the vision aspect. Is there something you would have changed at all in the movie?
Yeah, but I did. If I understood you correctly, I did change, because in the beginning, my like construction of the story. You know, first you'd write a synopsis. It was love conquers all, and while making the film, I felt that it's not that easy. It's in a way a naive view of the whole conflict, and in a way, towards the end, I tended to feel that maybe love conquers all. That's what I can say, but basically, what I found out is that separating people is a really good way to keep things as they are. That's the best way, and I see that the Israelis do it and the Palestinians, they do it as well. Just keep the line. And I can understand that people hate each other and they're afraid of each other, but I can also see that the most hateful person meeting somebody from the other side, it changes your view very much. And that's something politicians can't control, the emotions. But they have the tools to control it, so that's what they're doing. That's what I think.
And, you know, this is towards the end of the Tribeca Film Festival, and people have come out to really support this film. Did you expect this?
You hope for it. No, I mean, the response has been, I think, for all of us, and for my producer, who was here as well, Tobias Jansson, it's been overwhelming, because we were told that the New York audience was could be very neutral and difficult to connect to, but our screenings here have been the best we've ever had.
لما صار عمري 15 رحت اشتغل في بار في تل أبيب. الصبايا الإسرائيليين كانوا حلوين كثير، ما بعرف ليش، يمكن علشان عندهم حرية أكثر. بلشت أتعلم عبري يمكن علشان أحكي مع البنت اللي في المحل اللي جنبنا. أنا زي أغلبية الشباب الفلسطينيين، بس يمكن محدش عمل اللي أنا عملته. أكيد كنت عارف إن الموضوع راح يعمل مشاكل.
أنا شخصيا أنا وزوجتي مش قادرين نستقر في بيت واحد، كيف نخلي؟ غسيل يخلي؟
Actually was arrested by the Palestinian police. They beat them all night.
I hate this country and how hateful they made me become. When I hug Asi, I just won't let him go. I just want to hug him. That's it. The one thing I miss the most.
Was it hard being filmed like 24/7?
For sure, at first it was maybe a bit scary. The idea that somebody will invade our life in that way, and we also wanted it to be very real. So we didn't want to make believe or show our life in a certain way. We wanted them to really get into our life, to understand who we are, and to be very honest and open. That was for us very important. That if the end product will be very realistic. But we connected very deeply with Albin Biblum, the cameraman, and Gabriella. We became good friends. We hung out a lot together. We ate. We laughed. We argued together. So they became part of our life and part of the process. So they were not an external element that documents our life. They were part of our life, and they had a sensitivity to film in a way that we didn't feel them there. So the camera became somehow invisible.
And the one thing that I loved about the film was that like you saw the raw emotion. You're in back of your father's car right after the verdict came down, and your dad was just like pressing you, like, not now, Alva, not now, stop it, any day, but not today. And it was just so powerful. And then even when you're walking after you're beaten, and you saw it in your face, like you're like, oh, why can't this be my wife? And it was just like it was those moments that I think were really special. How did you feel about, obviously you said the camera was invisible, but these are raw emotions. Did you want to share these type of things with the global audience?
I think because the media use us in the bad way. It's not help our story and our problems, and we decided to make the film with Gabriella. I think maybe just because we are artists, we have more possibility to show and to be in the camera and other couples, and maybe also it's easy for us to talk about our problem in another couples. It's for him it's not easy to talk about the problems.
Yeah.
And also the way Gabriella directed the film, she didn't plan scenes. She was there. And when the time was right, she just played record. So you didn't know when she's filming, when she's not. She could be the whole day with us and film just 1 hour. So when I was fighting with my father in the car, I was absolutely not thinking about them. They were sitting with us because they drove with us, and we started arguing, and Albin just pressed record. So then they were not an element that I thought about at that time.
And it's also a lot of short of the movie, shooting from the movie. I don't really remember when was it, and I'm not sure it was also. Gabriella did a lot of shooting. It's like
more than 100 hours.
More than 100 hours, and sometimes when you already get to show every day, you have like the camera, and many times you already like know how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say it's just like the Romeo and Juliet of the conflict. What do you think about the conflict? Obviously, it's done a lot to you and your family, but what are you looking for this film to say to people, to learn from your experience about the conflict and also about finding love?
I think it's a very big question, and I don't have slogans as an answer. But there's one thing that I experienced personally that was very important, and I learned a lot from it, because I lived with Osama in Palestine for half a year. Half a year sounds very short in the Western time, but in the Middle East it's a long time, because everything is very intensive there. And you know what? I could manage a life there. People knew that I'm an Israeli, and we could live there. And we had a lot of problems with the Israeli army and in checkpoints, but not with the Palestinian society around us. at least towards me. Osama had problem with them also because he's a very controversial artist, and he's very not politically correct in the way he speaks. But when the personal experience in living in Palestine showed me that actually Israelis and Palestinians can manage and live together much better than one thinks when they hear the news, when they hear what the politicians say. So this conflict is at a lot more above human level, because people want to live, they want their children to be educated, they want their children to succeed, they want to provide for their families. That's actually what every person in the world wants. And they're less interested about big political agendas and conflicts and wars. And if I could live openly in Palestine, so I think that shows that there is much better chance to make a real relationship between Palestinians and Israelis in whatever constellation it might be done. And this was important for me to show, and it was important for me to show that when you choose somebody as a partner for life, external problems like political problems are very shallow and they're just the shell. The real meaning is in the relationship you have with your husband or wife, and that it's worth fighting for. At least in our case, it was worth fighting for every step, and I don't regret any moment. And we grew a lot from these struggles, and we grew together stronger as a couple.
When movies go to festivals, you never know how the audience is going to react. This is now towards the end of the Tribeca Film Festival. What has been some of your reaction to the film in the New York area?
איך אנשים הגיבו לסרט ואיך אנחנו מרגישים לגבי התגובות של אנשים פה?
Yeah, I think what I feel, the people really like the story, but in some point I have problem with audience, because half of the wall all pro-Palestinians or pro-Israelians, and the people really don't know until now how to be in the middle, you know. No pro-Palestinians, not to choose sides. And it's easy for him. We can feel it in the question of the audience. It's like, if it's Jewish, you have like more question about Israel. Right. If it's Palestinians, you have like question about more Palestine. It is not really, and it's also many question here in America. It's a bit, because a lot of people ask us about our life, but in Europe it's become to the politicals. But I want to go back to the first question. For me, the conflict, my enemy, I know what is my enemy. For me, my enemy is myself. And it's stupid if you search your enemy outside. It means you have a problem yourself.
Yeah, no. It's, when I think of some scenes in the movie, and I think that was like something really unique. In a sense, it wasn't really about the conflict itself. It was more of like dealing with the situation and persevering for love. When you were in one country, you're in the next one. It was always like, through the webcam saying, I love you and this, and then even when you said I'll go for you, but we want to be together. And even when you were having your struggles, you still persevered. And then to this day, like you can see that love and that connection. And I think the audience connects to that. And have you been back into different places that you've different countries and tell the story, or is it just this is the first time?
We've been in Copenhagen with Gabriella, and also in Prague, and the film was shown also in Gothenburg in Sweden. And we talked about the film, and I think what makes it a bit easier is because it's not a political film. It's really a love story. It's about us. We have political problems, but the film is not about politics. It allows people to discuss politics in a more open way, because they don't come already blocked with their dogmas and agendas. They look at a personal story of two people, and then it's possible to open up discussions much more. So I think in this case the film does that, and it maybe will help us to talk more about also the big issues, not just our little issues. That's it.
And what does your family think about this?
About the film? Or?
Being filmed in the film itself.
I don't know. Actually, our parents like the movie.
I think my father enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
yeah. What I can do, what can I say more?
I think if our parents would not support us the way they did, we
Yeah.
would not survive the
Yes,
struggle.
yes.
And this is also very important to know. If you have your first circle around you supporting your struggles, you can fight the world. But if your parents or your family disown you because of decisions like that, there is very little chance you will survive. It's too much to struggle within and without. So this was very important for us.
Yeah, and something also. It's sure it's love story, but I am not sure we love more another people, another couple. Like normal couple, we love each other and we want to be with each other. But the political situation, where we come, different culture, it's make it like Romeo and Juliet, you know. But I hope we don't end it like Romeo and Juliet.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And where are you living now?
Now we live in Austria.
In Vienna.
Yeah. And how do you like it?
Actually, we try to. It's the only possibility we have, and we like it there. But the weather is difficult. You know,
Right.
we come from hot countries
Yeah, the snow.
to go to the freeze.
Yeah, it's really going into the freezer.
And we talked a little bit about your art and how you are like a target because of your art. Did that ever scare you, or that you thought that you might have to give it up, or have you always just persevered, saying I don't care, this is who I am?
I think like another artist, sometimes you have like up and down, but the way what I choose my art now, I think it's also because my situation. In the beginning, I don't think to do some political work, and this kind of work I did now. I thought now I will do about animals and solar energy and sexuality. نمشي خوت كيلو شو الخيوط على كورزمان.
I don't get it.
Okay.
That's love. That's love.
Yeah.
Love is not getting it sometimes.
Yeah. And really about to do about love and animals, special, and nature more, and ballet maybe, dancer. I'm married with ballet dancer. I have a free model, and something like this. I don't think about political, but it's already something like this. My feeling now. It's my feeling now, and
It's a reflection of his experiences. So that's how his art changes.
That's great. And congratulations again on being selected for Tribeca.
Thank you.
And wish you all the best and all the happiness, because you definitely have it. It definitely comes across on the screen. I said there's few films that there's always the story, but sometimes you miss the that connection, and it's so clear between you two. So I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you.
As you can see, there's some really fantastic films at the Tribeca Film Festival that bring about the best in filmmaking. This is Aaron Herman, and thanks for watching.